Most people think rejection hurts because someone said no. That's not true. The real pain comes from what we make that no mean. A job rejects you. A person rejects you. An opportunity disappears. And suddenly, it doesn't feel like a rejection of your offer. It feels like a rejection of you. That's why rejection feels so powerful. Not because it destroys your future, but because it attacks your identity. And the people who stop fearing rejection discover a psychological truth that changes everything. They stop treating rejection as a verdict and start seeing it for what it really is. For most of human history, survival depended on belonging. Being accepted by the tribe meant safety. Being rejected meant danger, sometimes death. Your brain still carries that ancient wiring, which means social rejection triggers alarm systems that evolved thousands of years ago. That's why criticism hurts. That's why being ignored hurts. That's why a simple no can stay in your mind for years. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between physical danger and social exclusion, and because of that, many people spend their entire lives avoiding rejection. Here's the tragedy. Most people aren't controlled by rejection. They're controlled by the fear of rejection. They don't apply because they might fail. They don't speak because they might be judged. They don't start because they might be criticized. They don't ask because they might hear no. And slowly, their world becomes smaller, not because rejection happened, because they spent their lives avoiding it. The fear becomes a prison, and the bars are invisible. This is where fearless people think differently. Most people hear rejection and think, "What's wrong with me?" Fearless people ask, "What does this situation tell me?" They understand something profound. Rejection is information, not identity. A rejection does not define your value. It reflects a circumstance, a preference, a timing issue, an opinion, nothing more. The moment you stop turning rejection into a judgment of your worth, its power begins to disappear, because a no can reject an opportunity, but it cannot define a human being unless you allow it to. People who don't fear rejection aren't more confident than everyone else. They're more detached from outcomes. They understand that their value existed before the opportunity, before the interview, before the relationship, before the audience, before the approval. So when rejection arrives, it hurts, but it doesn't destroy them, because they never built their identity on someone else's acceptance. And when your identity is no longer on trial, rejection loses its leverage. The psychology of people who don't fear rejection isn't about becoming fearless. It's about becoming free. Free from needing every door to open. Free from needing every person to approve. Free from turning every no into a question about your worth. Because the truth is, rejection cannot destroy you, but the fear of rejection can. It can steal opportunities, dreams, relationships, entire years of your life. And the strongest people eventually realize something powerful. Every meaningful life includes rejection. Every successful person hears no. Every courageous decision risks disapproval. The goal is not to avoid rejection. The goal is to stop letting it define you. Because the moment rejection stops deciding who you are, you become impossible to stop. Subscribe to Wisemindstories for more psychology, self-mastery, and human behavior content.